Hello, good morning, grand rising, everyone, and welcome back. It is certainly brisk outside here in New York City, but I am very excited to come to share this very important update regarding UBAWA. Let me come out of this coat. I just came from outside. I'm loving the weather though. Actually, winter is one of my favorite seasons. I think actually all the seasons are my favorite because it's something unique about every season that I love. But I especially love winter. I think because I'm not from New York City and I grew up in a very warm climate down in the South in Florida. So I'm just used to hot weather and I like a change of scenery. And yeah, I love the snow. It's different. But I wanted to come to you guys. So I'm actually cross-promoting this video here on my personal page, Danny's World, Danielle Leach. I'm also promoting it on UBAWA and UBAWA Publishing, like several different pages, I think, UBAWA Book Convention. So you guys, thanks for tuning in. Now, I know it has been a relatively long time coming for people who support UBAWA and who have been patiently waiting for this next installment of the UBAWA Book Convention. Now, it is an annual book convention that takes place every year. That's how I designed it. And we travel to different cities across America, right? So let me rewind a little bit and give you guys a little bit of backdrop for those who are not familiar with what UBAWA is, right? So UBAWA is a nonprofit organization that I founded back in 2009. It officially launched in 2010. And what really inspired me to do this, ironically, was I was actually writing and promoting excerpts from my autobiography on my page on Facebook, and I noticed I had received an overwhelmingly amount of support from authors and writers. So much to the point where it sparked something in me that I wanted to give back. I'm like, okay, I'm getting so much support for my work. And there was excerpts from autobiography that I've written that I have yet to publish. That's a whole separate story. I'm like, how can I give back to these authors? So I decided to create what is now UBAWA. It's an acronym which stands for Urban Books Authors and Writers of America. And it's actually Swahili for wing. So it has double meaning. And I think it's a very essential tool. It's a very needed organization and a platform here, not just in America, but internationally. Like UBAWA has reached many different corners of this world, right? I was amazed just to see the traction that UBAWA got when I first launched it, and even just continuing throughout the years. Like UBAWA is international. It's a worldwide organization, essentially, even though it's targeted here in America towards authors who are underrepresented, typically African American authors who don't get the recognition that they deserve. That was a whole mission of UBAWA when we first started. It still remains the mission till this day. So the concept came in my mind back in 2009 when I first started writing my autobiography, and then I went ahead and officially launched it in 2010. So we're talking about over 12 years in the making. UBAWA is still here. The very first UBAWA Book Convention took place in 2013 in Atlanta, Georgia at the Georgia International Convention Center. And I was so amazed. Like, I feel like the people within UBAWA, right, the authors, the writers, the publishers, the readers, never cease to amaze me in terms of the amount of support. And I think we had a total participation in terms of registered authors, vendors, publishers who signed up. It was about 100, around about 100 people, maybe a little bit over 100 had signed up. So we had a decent turnout in terms of author registration, publisher registration. I held it in one of the big convention halls, exhibition halls at the JIC, the Georgia International Convention Center, which I think it was just too big of a shoe to encompass, I guess, the amount of people that actually showed up. So the size of the venue could accommodate thousands of people, but wherein, hundreds of people, it was a decent turnout, I would say, for the very first convention. I was okay with the turnout of the number of people who showed up and how things actually went. We had an author panel, I think, of maybe 8 to 10 authors who was on stage sharing their experiences. Still have video footage for that. Like, I have so much video footage, not only from the first UBAWA Book Convention, but the second one that was held 2013, 2 years later, actually. We held the second annual UBAWA Book Convention in New York City at the Bronx Museum. That was in 2015, and that had a decent turnout. Not as many, because given the size of the venue was obviously relatively smaller, so it wasn't over 100 authors who had registered to vend there, but I'd say that we had a total of about 65 vendors, including authors and publishers, who were there selling their books, and that was a sight to be reckoned with. Like, I really enjoyed it. I see that the crowd in New York City was much more of a diverse crowd than what we had in Atlanta. Atlanta, I think, was predominantly Black, like, if not 100%. Like, it was all blacked out, right? In terms of the ethnic demographic makeup. But here in New York City, when we had it in 2015, I mean, we had different races. We had, Indians. It was mostly Black, but definitely a diverse crowd, biracial. So, I felt really good. We had the local news station show up to do a story. So I was just happy just to see that not only I had the support from within my organization, but also from people without. I had, and not even mention the amazing hosts that have helped the success of UBAWA when we were having these conventions. So definitely I brought on a host here in New York City for the second annual UBAWA Book Convention. I am stalling on his name, Jeremy Hassel. There we go. Jeremy Hassel was the host, and he has a good reputation for himself. He's definitely building a career. He's actually hosted the New York City New Year's Eve celebration festivities down in Times Square, like getting like national, international attention. So he definitely has a name for himself that he's continuing to build. So I was really happy to see that he was so enthused to be the host of our author panel. He was interacting with the authors, have a lot of video footage for that. I've released some, but I still have much more. Like never before seen footage from author interviews and just the B-roll, just different interactions, different things that took place at our UBAWA Book Convention when it was in Atlanta, Georgia, and New York City, and even the third one that was held the following year in 2016. It was in Los Angeles, California. So I have so much to share. I feel like I'm feeling really good because I'm going to take my time here in this video because I have a lot to share here with you guys that I am planning to bring about in the coming months within this next year. So the third annual UBAWA Book Convention was held in Los Angeles. That had a decent turnout. I think the venue obviously was definitely much smaller than the one in New York. Really nice venue though. It was in an upscale neighborhood in Los Angeles, and I want to say about 50. We had an author registration of about 50 authors. We also had an author panel. We had food catering. Speaking of which, I'm a very transparent person. Obviously I host my own vlog on YouTube, on Facebook. So I am pretty open and honest and just direct and straightforward. So I don't mind being a little bit transparent to share with you guys why it has been so long since we held UBAWA Book Convention. So the last one was in 2016, and amazingly, that's the same year I moved out to Los Angeles, kind of impromptu. what was happening. It was more so what was happening behind the scenes that kind of pushed me out of New York City and into a different realm and unfamiliar territory. I was in a very serious relationship, very intense. I'll use the word intense. And that person actually came with me out to Los Angeles. I wasn't really feeling that at that point, but I invited that person. We ended up working through our disagreement, our differences, and he actually was the caterer for the second UBAWA book convention that was held in New York City, and also in the one that was held in Los Angeles. That was my partner at the time. Very great cook, though. He's Jamaican, so the people, I got the response from the people. They really enjoyed the food. From a business perspective, he made a decent amount of money. So that was a success in that part. But I think what a big part of, I think why I decided to put the UBAWA Book Convention on pause is because, obviously it takes a lot of effort, of attention, of money, of time that goes into developing and organizing an event. And especially if you want it to be done correctly, right? And I'm that kind of person. Like, I'm very meticulous about how I do things. And so, given I was also in the midst of completing a PhD program in clinical psychology, which I have completed finally. It took me 5 years. It was a 5-year program. I actually finished and graduated last year in 2021. So I'm definitely done with that. But I wanted to, focus my attention on my academic studies and that part of my professional development. So I decided to pause it. And meanwhile, I actually went through a relationship breakup. So it's just amazing to see, like, now your girl is single, okay? So I think that I can definitely accomplish much, much more being single. Although, yes, I am dating, but I'm not partner, let's say, in a serious relationship. So, it allows me that freedom, that time, that ability to just kind of be able to move without having to make compromises and to focus, which is most important, I think, because it was just so many distractions with that. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it was definitely a lot of distractions when I was in that relationship. And that relationship, like I said, it kind of carried over from the first UBAWA Book Convention. I mean, not the first, the second that was held in New York City, and the third. The first UBAWA Book Convention actually was also partnered to someone else. So I just find it interesting to see, like, for the first 3 UBAWA Book Conventions, I actually was in a relationship with someone. And then, most likely, who knows? I don't know. We might see. But for the 4th UBAWA Book Convention, which I'm actually going to have in 4 different cities across across the United States, including DC. This is what you guys have voted on. So we're going to do DC. We're going to do New York City. We're going to do Chicago. And then we're also going to do Los Angeles. So with that, who knows? I might still be single, but I'm planning that for 2023. And I feel so inspired. I feel so motivated for what is in store for UBAWA, because it's just, UBAWA is something that is very, like, near and dear to my heart. I've invested so much time, energy, and money into UBAWA. Okay. More so time, I would say, than money. Definitely money, but more so time and just attention. And given that when I first launched UBAWA, some of y'all who've been with me since then, we're talking about back in 2009, I was living in Atlanta, Georgia, 2010. That was my struggle phase. Things have definitely changed for me for the better now, but back then, your girl was going through it. And so I wasn't financially secure, but I still was driven. I think it was the fact that I wasn't, I didn't have a lot of financial resources. That is what, like, drove me to launch this. And I felt like it was for me. What I created here, like, how they say everyone has their own lane. That was my lane. And I feel like, even though, yes, there have been moments where UBAWA has somewhat been on a hiatus when it comes to the UBAWA Book Convention, even the UBAWA magazine, which I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. I feel like nothing can take that from me, right? It cannot be taken away from me because this is a gift. UBAWA is a gift from the universe, is something that has been placed in me, and only myself can bring it to fruition, right? And to make manifest what has been bestowed upon me, what has been implanted within me, this vision to give underrepresented authors and writers and publishers a platform to be seen and to take themselves to the next level. Right, UBAWA is kind of like an entity that really takes a life of its own. Yes, like I am the brainchild behind UBAWA, but at the same time, or UBAWA is my brainchild, but at the same time, it's like the people within this organization and the energy and the force that has been created within UBAWA is like it's a force that is driving itself, and I really appreciate that. So even when times when I'm more focused on my doctoral studies and I'm now working towards licensure and I was going through that breakup, it's just like heartwarming to see how UBAWA still is just doing its own thing. And that's just how I think, to my credit too, also that's how I established it. So I was saying, like, when I first launched UBAWA back in 2009, 2010, like, I did not have a laptop. I not have my own computer. Like, I was strapped for financial resources, so I would go to the library and, like, in DeKalb County, I was staying in East Atlanta at the time, and I would log onto the computer. I would, like, have to reserve, a time frame to use the computer. I think they only gave us, like, maybe 45 minutes, an hour each time, and we got like maybe 2 hours max for the day. So I had that time to just be focused and to promote authors, to build my website at the time, to build this engine that eventually is going to run itself, right? That's the direction that pretty much is heading in. And I remember just how focused I was. Like, I knew that I was working on something that was meaningful. I felt like this was a mission that was so important that I had to go to the library religiously, and I did that, and I'm so proud that I stuck with that. So UBAWA is, yes, it's a platform that promotes underrepresented authors, primarily African American authors, but it's so much more than that. Like UBAWA, we have within UBAWA the UBAWA magazine, there's UBAWA radio, there's publications like Who's Who, there's UBAWA Book Convention. So with the magazine, to date, there have been 44 published editions of the UBAWA magazine, which I feel proud of for myself. Each edition has like a different author on the cover. The magazine itself runs between like 20 to, let's say 25 to like 50 pages. Filled with author features and news and publishing tips and just everything as it relates to being an author, a writer, a publisher. And I think I'm realizing that, yes, that has been established with the UBAWA magazine for so many years, but just seeing how there is going to be an evolution with UBAWA magazine, as it is with the whole entire entity. So I can't really share too much here, but I'm definitely happy to see like the direction that is going. Going to the UBAWA radio, we've done dozens of interviews with authors through UBAWA radio. That is definitely going to be relaunched. Book reviews, like I've done many book reviews. I've actually hired a whole staff of reviewers to review books. So we reviewed hundreds of authored books, and you guys can go check out the reviews on our website at ubawa.org. If you look at the news tab, it's divided by categories, and just click on book reviews. You'll be able to see the various reviews that have been done by myself, but mainly, I've done some reviews, but mainly by avid readers who were a part of the book review team. So that's that. The UBAWA documentary Oh my gosh, I was just looking at some of the footage that I collected and we put together for the UBAWA documentary back when I was living in Los Angeles. I actually interviewed 4 authors and their stories are so impactful, and I'm just like, it has not been released yet. This documentary, like, it's like the footage is there, right? It just has to be put together and it's coming, and I'm just really happy, and I can see for myself that how it's going to be integrated into this relaunch of the UBAWA Book Convention. When you guys who sign up for the UBAWA Book Convention, when you step foot into that venue in 2023, I'm going to make sure that everyone is thoroughly amazed and impressed. There's going to be so much to see and so much to catch up with, right? Because I feel like I said, UBAWA has been somewhat on a hiatus, you know, with the UBAWA Book Convention, the magazine, and the documentary. And so hold me to it. Rest assured that you guys will be able to see. You will see. But yeah, it's so much, like, it's so much there, right? And there's so much content. There's so much, like, data that I've collected over the years. Like, there's so many authors, there's so many publishers, and that's where the Who's Who directory is going to come in, which is already being put together. So many people have already signed up for the 4th annual UBAWA Book Convention. Like, I could show you guys, right? I can definitely show you guys that the number of registrations that we have received for people who are very enthused about this 4th convention. So that's why my heart goes out to you, and I can only be grateful and appreciative of those who are consistent with their support and they benefit. You know, they're supporting because obviously there's an exchange here. They're benefiting from the services and they have faith and hope in what UBAWA has to deliver. So thank you. Thank you to everyone who has shown their support, who has remained steadfast, who is still committed to the mission of UBAWA, and who is optimistic about what's to come. Right? Of course, there have been some negative Nancy's. We're not going to give them too much light. But of course, you know, as with anything that you are building, any brand that you are building or business, you know, organization, there are going to be some people who, you know, are not as optimistic, who really don't see your vision. And on top of that, not only that they don't see your vision, but they're trying to deliberately destroy your vision, to demolish it, right? To intercede and to distract. You know, they're like, what is your point in coming into this organization if you're not meaning well, right, by the people? And so there have been a few of those, and of course they're excommunicated and definitely not a part of UBAWA anymore. But for the most part, like, yes, I only can be grateful and thankful and just humbly appreciative of everyone who has been there and has contributed and just believes in themselves. And I just feel like I have so much to give. Right, I came to today to just share this video to remind you guys and let you guys know, like, listen, we're still here. UBAWA is still here. It's not going anywhere at all. And I definitely see for 2023, this relaunch of the UBAWA Book Convention is definitely going to be epic. It's going to be groundbreaking. It's going to be historic. So just watch and see. Feel free to share your comments below. Share this video, and I will catch everyone in the next one, especially for those who follow my personal page. I know I don't really go live here on UBAWA, but I'm telling you, it's more to come. So this is just a heads up. Catch you guys later.